discussed about some of the extra medical factors that you were mentioning earlier, which actually form the cause for causation of the epidemics. So when we talk about the medical factors, so the medical aspect of the whole COVID-19 situation. So when we are talking about Ayurveda in this context, so can an Ayurvedic practitioner in his general practice take up a case of COVID-19 disease?
Yeah. When it is an epidemic, no medical system fully understands, what is the disease. And the challenge is that we cannot wait for research to understand. So there is a need to give care. So this is very subtle. I mean, we need to really make this understanding clear. Even if we do not fully understand the disease, the pandemic creates a situation where we have to offer care. So with the best available knowledge, and it is a learning curve, as you treat more and more patients, you begin to understand, you share this information amongst other practitioners, and gradually your understanding evolves. So the question here is that whether an Ayurvedic physician can treat COVID-19. So at the level of care, definitely I think yes, to offer care, So there will be, so only thing is you need certain preparedness for this, that you need to get the best understanding of the disease. Usually this happens through discussions amongst experts in the field, development of consensus statements, and then a practice guideline on the basis of which you start offering care. So this kind of a framework needs to be there. When we deal with diseases like COVID-19, where it will take time for us to, even from an Ayurvedic perspective, to understand the disease completely.
So if so, then is it permitted under law? So are there some legalities involved when we are talking about an epidemic? Because it is not at an individual level, it is affecting the whole community. So what are the legal aspects in this?
Yes, the public health response system creates a mechanism for dealing with COVID-19 kind of diseases. So in India also that has happened. So there would be hospitals that are notified, physicians that are authorized to deal with COVID-19 patients. So the beginning of the epidemic, even in the allopathic community, all doctors and all hospitals were not authorized to treat COVID-19. Because one of the things is that this is a very contagious disease. And so if you are not having enough preparedness and adequate facilities like PPEs, isolated areas, it's highly risky for even an ordinary physician to handle such diseases. So as the pandemic escalates, the situation becomes challenging and you have to bring more and more people into the, forefront to deal with the disease. So this we must also understand. This mechanism is expected. And initially, only the government institutions were actually involved in the management of COVID-19. So there were COVID-19 designated hospitals. And there are also certain rules that this is basically formulated to help prevent the disease from spreading out of control. So somebody who is having certain symptoms, they are expected to go and test themselves. And if they are tested positive, then they have to quarantine, get isolated people. So all those rules are there. So these can never be violated because they are, by law. So if an Ayurvedic physician attempts to treat a COVID-19 patient, violating these laws, I mean, that will be kind of a criminal offense. But on the other hand, within this framework of law, if there is a space, like many states started, including Ayurveda also, for the management of COVID-19. So I had a conversation with Dr. Nandini Kumar, who is the former Deputy Director General of ICMR, and she has especially worked on the field of medical ethics and also related to traditional medicine. So what she said was that it is up to the state. I mean, an Ayurvedic physician is also entitled to treat a COVID-19 patient if the patient willingly approaches him, but it cannot be in violation of the existing rules and regulations. Like if a patient, according to the guideline, needs to be hospitalized or to be isolated, if those regulations are violated in the course of the treatment, it would be a challenge. But if a patient is at home in isolation and generally no medications are given, they are just asked to, take care of themselves, proper hydration, food. In that circumstance, if somebody decides that they want an Ayurvedic treatment, for the protection of the Ayurvedic physician, it's always important that they take a consent, informed consent, and then they can give the treatment. So that is the actual situation. It's not actually prohibited. In fact, in cities like Delhi, Ayurveda hospitals also eventually became designated as COVID care centers, and Ayurvedic physicians have been offering care. But now the question is, in some states it's not allowed, some states it's allowed. Sometimes patients want themselves to take this treatment. So then we have this question as to which stage Ayurveda should actually deal with. Generally, the tendency is to say that you treat asymptomatic or mild cases. But the general feeling is, that even in such cases, if the patients become severe or critical, they should be referred to an allopathic hospital. So that's the framework now. But many states are not allowing. Some states are allowing Ayurvedic physicians to treat. So, but if you are approached personally by a patient, the thing is you have to make sure that you don't break any laws and rules. And within that framework, then you take a consent. You must make sure that the patient has informed the public health authorities that that person is COVID-19 positive. Most of the time, if it is mild, they will tell the patient to be isolated at home itself. So in such a situation, if they want to try an Ayurvedic treatment, it's up to the patient to take a decision. And the physician has to get a consent form and then do it. But not informing them, not going to a hospital when they get worse, these things will be kind of offense under the law.
So, does it mean that Ayurveda can only handle asymptomatic, like as it is generally believed, only those who are asymptomatic or in a milder degrees, mild to moderate case? Does that mean that?
Yeah, I mean, actually, when you say Ayurveda can handle asymptomatic or mild cases, it's based on the assumption that these cases are self-limiting anyway. And so it doesn't matter whether you give Ayurvedic treatment or not. And people will be happy that they are getting something. So when it comes to severe and, critical cases, we cannot really make any assumptions unless we start, treating them and seeing. And here I can only say out of the experience that I have, seen with some Ayurvedic physicians. Personally, I have not been able to treat any COVID-19 patient because of the restrictions in Kerala. But I have interacted with Ayurveda doctors who have been treating. And from their experience, it looks like Ayurveda can also help in severe cases. How severe, how critical, we need to explore further. But there was one patient, and actually, with the treating physician shared that information with me, and I'm helping her, Dr. Jyoti Joshi from Mumbai, helping her to write a case report, and it's almost in the final stages of review in a journal. We hope it will be accepted for publication, where the patient had very severe, hypoxia and was admitted in an allopathic hospital with a SpO2 of 80%. And she was in great difficulty. And even after 1 day of oxygen support and, allopathic management, she was not getting better. So she was obese with a BMI of 37. So she had very high CRP levels, which are all associated with a very bad prognosis. So obesity, high CRP levels, and an SpO2 of 80. It was not a good clinical picture. But that patient's brother had contacted this Ayurvedic doctor, and he had recovered quickly without any problems. So the brother told the sister and said, "Let us try Ayurveda." So from the hospital, the patient was consulted remotely by phone, and after making an assessment, they gave Ayurvedic treatment. So at that time, the treating allopathic doctor said, "You can take Fabiflu." Fabiflu is expensive, about 6,000 rupees or something. And then they told her that even with this, we don't know whether you will benefit. We can only try. And so at that moment, the patient herself decided that she doesn't want that treatment. So she stopped all allopathic medications except vitamin C and oxygenation, and decided to start Ayurvedic treatment. And within 24 hours, her SpO2 started improving, and she was able to sit in the bed, slowly remove the oxygen. Within 2 days, she was completely off oxygen support. So this is a case where the prognosis was bad, BMI high, and so similarly, Dr. Girija from Chennai, we have also had conversations with her, and she's also writing case reports. She already published one case report where a patient with renal disease and on dialysis was treated with Ayurveda because she couldn't do dialysis at that time because she was COVID positive. They don't do that. And she survived for 1 week for the first time in many, I think in a year or so, without dialysis, just with Ayurvedic support. And she tested negative for COVID also. So I don't think it is correct to dismiss that Ayurveda cannot do any help. Sometimes I believe that Ayurveda should be tried as the first line because allopathy, they don't have any effective medicine. So before they try Fabiflu or HCQS or Remdesivir, in the early stages, they should try the first line of treatment if the patient agrees. So you could tell the patient you have these choices. Do you want Ayurveda? Do you want allopathy? And allow them to take a decision. And then if Ayurveda doesn't work in them, then they can go to the next stage. Looking at all these cases, I feel that if people try Ayurveda first, then maybe a lot of this severity, criticality can be also avoided. But this is based on my limited experience and screening. Further studies, I think, will help us understand exactly where Ayurveda can help.
So, also, there were many newspaper reports in the initial days of this outbreak that especially Ayurveda doctors, or especially Ayush physicians, are not allowed to take up COVID-19, and especially the ILI cases. So probably what you just said. So the scope of Ayurveda we cannot simply dismiss the
Yeah, no,
effectiveness
the
of
thing is,
Ayurveda.
see, the ILI cases where even allopathic doctors were prohibited at one point of time. Not all allopathic doctors were allowed. So we must also be fair here. It's not just a discrimination against Ayurveda. It's taking a precaution that many of these clinics don't have the facilities to handle patients who are affected by such a contagious disease. So if you allow everybody on the street to start treating COVID-19 without adequate protection and precautions, then the medical personnel themselves will be at a threat. Even Ayurvedic physicians should be quite careful here. I mean, in the over enthusiasm, if they go out and start engaging without adequate preparations and protection, and these are all very expensive. I mean, in our All India Institute of Ayurveda, some of our colleagues, we had a conversation with Dr. Prashant Dharmarajan, who's in looking after these COVID-19 patients, and he was saying that it's really a punishment to be inside these PPEs for hours in the day. You cannot even sweat. I mean, you cannot even attend to nature's call. So it's not an easy task, actually. So it's a, and most of the time we may have to deal with these patients remotely. That also brings a lot of limitations because you may not be able to assess the patients correctly. So these challenges are there. So, in my opinion, good institutions, centers with facilities, and they should be given training, Ayurvedic doctors also, on how to take preventive measures, how to protect themselves. Only then they should be allowed to treat COVID. You cannot, release an order one fine morning, say now all Ayurvedic doctors start treating COVID-19. It cannot be that way. But on the other hand, what's happening in states like Kerala is discrimination. There is a clear intention to keep Ayurveda doctors away from managing COVID-19 patients.
Why
In
is
a
that so?
state, yeah, this is because in Kerala, the allopathic community is very strong. And
I
in
thought it was the
Kerala,
other way around.
yeah, the Ayurveda community is strong, which is why I think allopathic community is very sensitized and more wanting to preserve their, professional territories,
Territory.
because they know that Ayurveda is quite strong here. And if we get an upper hand during such a pandemic, it might completely change the whole scenario. And another reason is that in Kerala, COVID-19 never really overwhelmed the healthcare system. And it's only even now just beginning to. So at the time when Ayurveda was being considered, in fact, Kerala was the first state to be proactive and bring in Ayurvedic community for working against COVID-19. On March 30th, I was also there in a meeting summoned by the chief minister, and 40, 50 people were together. And I was also chosen by the chief minister to be part of a task force, 8-member task force. So I know very much that they were very enthusiastic about this, both the health minister and the chief minister. But then when we came up with a plan, prevention, mitigation, rehabilitation, we were told to involve only in preventive aspects, especially, and not at all deal with patients who have been tested positive. So we were actually not allowed to take part in the management of COVID-19 at all. And what the government at that time, so we did discuss with the health minister again separately. We had a meeting. And what she said was, in Kerala, we have a model of managing the pandemic that has actually won accolades throughout the world. Kerala model at that time was, appreciated by the WHO and international bodies. So we don't want to disturb a system which is so effective. So we had only a handful of patients at that time. So that's also one reason why Ayurveda couldn't be actually pushed into the forefront. In other states where Ayurveda was introduced, there was an overwhelming number of cases. So there was more reason. The allopathic system was not efficient. So it was easier to convince, that you need to rely on traditional systems.
So you mentioned about so before we get into the treatment aspect, so the protocol, etc. So you mentioned that it is very important to understand the disease entity first, and only then
Yes.
we can see what is wrong in the body and we can restore the normalcy.
True.
So
Yes, this is a fundamental dictum. Rogamadhav Pariksha. First, examine the disease, investigate and understand what is the disease. Tadanandaram aushadha. So, tadat karma bhishak paschat jnana purvam samacharit. So, a treatment should be done on the basis, it should be informed decision. So, we need to understand, what is the disease. So, when a new disease like COVID-19 comes, if you just imagine you are in the clinic and the first time you're encountering it, you would probably mistake it to be a fever or a flu. And then you do the treatment. Only when the patient doesn't respond, then you try out, other things. But our encounter with COVID-19 did not happen in this stage, because this is what happened in China. The Chinese physicians in the beginning had to face this problem. But by the time the disease came to India and spread here, we already had some understanding of the disease. So we had a clinical profiling of the disease. What are the symptoms, how to test it, all these things had already been developed. So that becomes a basis for Ayurvedic physician to also get an Ayurvedic, at least a hypothetical understanding of what the disease is. Everything you need not, know only by your own clinical experience. You can also, get insights from the clinical experience of others. So at this point of time, some of us, I had actually authored that paper as a first author. We tried to develop a Ayurvedic clinical profile of COVID-19, looking at data from allopathic hospital, patients, then the literature, and then looking at Ayurvedic literature. So this triangular method, we understood, is good enough to get a working hypothesis of what COVID-19 is. Now, this should actually be circulated within the Ayurvedic community. A panel of Ayurvedic clinicians should sit together, get inputs from the community, and then we must come out with a consensus statement that this, at this point of time, this is what, from an Ayurvedic point of view, we think COVID-19 is. And based on this understanding, this is the kind of treatments that we think will be helpful. So this means that the best rationale has been brought out from within the community. It is not a good practice that every physician will start coming with her or his or her own idea about what COVID-19 is and then starts proposing medicines. This kind of a confusing situation happened in the Ayurvedic community, and which is what something forced the Prime Minister also to, put some curbs, and the Ministry of Ayush was asked to put a curb on false claims, and so that was a sad thing. We failed to actually come together as a community and speak in one voice. Everybody was trying to, push their own remedies. They were coming out with that. Is not correct. It's a social responsibility actually to have a consensus statement, and that consensus statement cannot be final. It has to be continuously, evolving. So as more and more patients are treated, every Ayurvedic physician should report the outcomes of the patients that they are treating. And all this should be pulled in. And then seeing the outcomes, we will have to make modifications in the consensus statement and refine the treatment protocol. This is how practice-based evidence can be generated. So in the wake of a disease like COVID-19, on the one hand, we have to do practice-based evidence. And you start giving care to the patients and then learn through that experience. Parallelly, we can do research. That's another thing altogether. But here I am talking about only practice-based evidence, where we are dealing with the disease at the level of our own clinical practice. So this is how I think we should go. To summarize, develop a consensus, about the diagnostic aspect of the disease. What do we think COVID-19 is? It may not be, the final thing, but based on even experience of modern clinicians, whatever they have recorded as a clinical profiling, then looking at Ayurvedic texts, then slowly as we see more and more patients, we can refine it. And then based on the Ayurvedic understanding, we can start with a protocol of what could be the possible approaches to treat. And then looking at the feedback, from the physicians, what outcomes we are seeing, we can refine this. So this is how I think the Ayurvedic community should, plan to offer clinical care for COVID-19.
So you mentioned about the clinical profiling of the disease as per Ayurvedic principles. So is there a ready a treatment protocol or the algorithm, like you mentioned earlier, which the physicians could look at first and then start implementing and putting in their discretion? So
yes, I mean, actually, many protocols were developed, and the Ministry of Ayush, through the interdisciplinary R&D task force, actually formulated a clinical practice guideline. And I have discussed with some of the clinicians who have been treating COVID-19 patients, and like Dr. Girija, she was of the opinion that this is quite comprehensive. In fact, it gives enough number of formulations for an Ayurvedic physician to choose from. And there would be only a few instances where they may have to use one or two extra medicines or something, which even Dr. Nandini Kumar said that it's like a therapeutic privilege. I mean, a clinician can take that freedom to do something extra or additional from that overall algorithm. But we do have such a skeletal framework is there. And there was also a paper published, Pragmatic, Treatment Protocol for COVID-19 by Dr. Sanjeev Rastogi and some of his colleagues. This also was published in Jail. The only thing is these things should get published, in respectable peer-reviewed journals. Then they become, a tool of for reference. Otherwise, if it just circulates, as individual opinions, it will not be good. So in COVID-19, we did have this profiling. We have a preliminary treatment protocol, both in journals and also a case report published. So I think that way the Ayurvedic community has done some basic work, but we need this to continue. We need more voluminous information coming in. And so more documentation, more discussions, consensus statements. This would definitely be, necessary to actually propel this whole Ayurvedic movement of, involving in the management of COVID-19 patients.
So, do we have to get back to the Ayush Ministry, like they had invited for research proposals? Like now, for the documentation purpose, if at all we get an opportunity to treat a COVID-19 patient, should we report it back to the Ayush Ministry website, or is there a separate?
No, there is nothing to. Nobody is asking you to report any outcome in clinical practice. That's not mandatory to report any clinical outcome. Only you have to report whether the patient is positive, and if not responding, you have to send. Nobody is reporting recoveries. In that sense that, you need to notify that the patient has recovered. That should be done. But it's not mandatory that you publish a case report after you treat a COVID-19 patient. That's not been made mandatory. But it would be very, very helpful if Ayurvedic physicians did that. And there is no central body which is asking you to do that. But clinicians should take that initiative and publish case reports. That's what, in my opinion, if they start publishing case reports of all their cases very meticulously, then we will get a lot of evidence from actual clinical practice that Ayurvedic physicians are treating. I mean, it will be noticed rather than simply giving a social media announcement. If you do a proper case study and then published as a case report, it will have more value. It will be considered as a documentation of what has really happened at the point of clinical care. And when you have overwhelming numbers of such case reports, people will start to pay attention. That's what I feel.
So you mean to say the algorithm, even though the algorithm for treatment has already been outlined, the physician's discretion and mainly the customization, looking at the avastha or the stage of the disease is important.
Yes, that's very important because, when you have a COVID-19 patient, we find they may present with fever or without fever, with cough and severe breathing difficulty or only mild symptoms. Sometimes they may have upper respiratory symptoms. Sometimes they may have more severe, lung involvement. So the choice of your medicines will differ. Now, Dashamula Kadutrayam is good for clearing the phlegm in the chest, but it is not good for fever. It's not indicated in fever. Whereas Vyaghiradi Kashayam is good for both fever and upper and lower respiratory problems. Whereas if the infection is more deep-seated, Bharmyadi Kashayam is more effective. So these kind of decisions you can take only when you see the patient. So you cannot decide that beforehand. So the advisory will list all these formulations, and then based on the patient's condition, you will have to pick up from them, which is the most suited.